Life is short and full of surprises, and sometimes those surprises remind us of our own mortality. As motorcyclists, we challenge the inherent risks of riding in an effort to feel free, alive, and for some of us, at peace. Today's video is unlike any I've done before because it's not about upgrades, events, or product reviews. In fact, it's not about motorcycles at all. Well, sort of. Today's video is about close calls and giving thanks when those close to us happen to survive unexpected tragedies. Inherently, we root for the underdogs of life, if anything, to remind us that there's always a chance. Always hope beyond hope. Roughly 9 weeks ago, one of my closest friends suffered what is called a hemorrhagic stroke, which is basically when weakened blood vessels rupture in the brain, causing aneurysms and arteriovenous malformations. To put it in simplistic form, his brain started to bleed due to high blood pressure that caused excess pressure to form in his brain, leading to multiple procedures needed to reduce that pressure by cutting into his skull. At first, those of us close to him were in disbelief, as he was known for taking good care of himself, living a healthier lifestyle than most. After the shock wore off, I feared for his family, an Air Force vet with a wife and 2 kids, and having lost my own father not too long ago, the event hit home in many ways. I was able to see my buddy days after being released from rehab, happy to see him, walking and talking, and finally home with his family. Not surprisingly, he was still walking gingerly, still visibly recovering from his stroke. But it was progress and a step in the right direction. Not too long after, he reached out to me asking me if I wanted to ride. Of course I wanted to ride, but I was also worried how he would handle his 774-pound Road King special. So where do you take someone who quite possibly could have never ridden his motorcycle again? Who, like me, and I'm sure some of you, couldn't fathom the idea of never riding again? Well, to the closest Harley dealership, that's where. Now, as a footnote, he lives close to the dealership, which we thought was a good distance to start with to see where he was at. So after a few laps around the neighborhood, we were on our way. We pulled up to Alligator Alley during one of their many weekend events. After looking at several bikes on the showroom, we grabbed some free lunch that they were offering and perused their merchandise and gear, as always. Now, we'd been riding together for over 10 years, always looking to keep up with each other, whether in speed or in the latest rides. I remember when I first bought my Yamaha MT-10. He ended up trading in his MT-09 for the MT-10. We joked about not letting each other get a leg up on the other and keeping a level playing field as possible. In fact, several months after I traded in my MT-10 for the Road King, he did the same, getting a black one to boot as well. We've ridden to Daytona, the Keys, and several other places over the years. It feels good to have one of my riding brothers back in the saddle doing what we love to do most, ride. Mother Nature had other plans, but nonetheless, he was still wanting to ride more, feeling more confident as the minutes passed, so we decided to stop by our local cycle gear store to check out their stuff. We hit the road and took the streets across town. Being a habitually fast rider, I had to remember that it would still take some time for him to return to 100%. So I caught myself speeding ahead, then having to slow down, remembering he wasn't going to take off like we used to. With his wife behind us in her car, we made our way to our destination, enjoying every minute of what would normally be a less exciting excursion. At first glance, this video doesn't contain any amazing scenery or high-speed riding. No twisties, no wheelies, no burnouts, or other epic moments in motorcycle culture. In fact, I'm sure most of you see this as just a typical day of riding around town. To me, though, it was a monumental moment, just as significant as the ride we just did to North Carolina. A ride that, ironically, he was supposed to come with us. This was a beautiful ride, unlike the others I've done. From the Keys up to Tennessee, I've ridden some of the most beautiful places on some of the most beautiful roads. But in its own way, this was just as beautiful, even on a rainy day, as this ride served as a reminder to never give up. Always believe that there is hope and that life will find a way back to you. For all of you out there that may be struggling internally or externally, economically or in health, keep fighting the good fight. As always, thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next time.